Hi there, Susan Friesen here with eVision Media, bringing you today's video eTip. And today's topic is about a logo. And I wanted to share a story that happened just yesterday, in fact, where I got a phone call from a fellow who was phoning on behalf of a friend of his who was telling him that she wanted to start a new business. And she was saying that, she's come up with this logo herself and she's trying to build her own website. And he kind of put the brakes up. He says, "Stop, what are you doing?" And he says, "Let me help you with this," because what he related to me was that you don't start a business that way. Coming up with your own logo and trying to develop your own website may seem like it's a cost-effective solution on getting started with your business, but in the long run, you're trudging through mud trying to get to the finish line. So he gave me a call to find out, okay, well, what exactly is involved in getting started with the business, and, how much will it cost and all that kind of stuff. And we had a really good discussion about how he understood the value of having a professionally designed logo. And to be honest with you, it was kind of refreshing to have that chat with him. And we were both on the same page where your logo is your brand representation of your business. And it's super important that it's done correctly. And what a lot of entrepreneurs and new business owners kind of miss the mark on is they think that, well, I'll just do a swoosh like Nike and I'm good. It'll be world famous or whatever. Or they'll think that it's not, they're just not giving it the importance, the weight of importance that it should have. And so, they'll come up with something pretty, or, they might have their own kind of sense of design style, so they'll come up with some pretty flowers or something like this and think that's really cool and call it a day, and very proud of what they've created, of course, as we all are. But the disconnect that happens with that is that when your logo needs to be that graphical representation of your business or a corporation, whatever, or a trademark or a product or program that you're creating, a logo isn't just for a business name. It needs to relate to your target market, the people that you want to resonate with it, who, to actually purchase from you. So there's actually a lot of psychology that goes in behind creating a logo, and that visualization of how that branding is created is super important for the success of your business. If you fall flat on creating that logo, which ends up being the foundation of your overall business brand, then, as I said before, you're going to be trudging through mud trying to get to that finish line of success. And so it's important to think about this from that perspective. Like, we do have these iconic logos, like there's Nike, of course, and the McDonald's and AOL, and all of these iconic logos, and that's what we think of when we think of a logo. And of course, we automatically think, well, that's extremely expensive and whatever, right? But there's also a lot of normal logos. Like, we have a normal logo, and so let me just break it down a little bit for you as to what all goes into the psychology of designing a logo. Now, first of all, there's two different types of logos that you could have. One is a graphical representation, where there's some sort of imagery with that logo, and then the other would be, like an example would be like the McDonald's arches. The arches themselves are an actual graphical representation. And then the other kind of a logo is where it's a logo type only. It's just the font face as serving as that logo. So Sony and Coca-Cola would be a typical font face type of a logo. And so when we look at those two elements, the other things that go into the thought process of coming up with a logo is the font. What kind of font should be used to accurately represent the personality, the brand personality and representation of your business. What's going to resonate the most with your ideal target market? What's going to appeal to them, thinking that, yes, I get this, I understand what this business is up to, and I want to be a part of that. So that's logo, because that's your font style. So there's lots of different font styles. to consider, serif and sans serif and scroll and all that kind of stuff, right? And then and papyrus is not on that list, by the way. I see a lot of logos using the papyrus font. I digress. So the other thing to really take in consideration is the color. Color choices are extremely important. Color psychology is used universally in all branding and marketing and advertising. So the choice of color is a direct correlation to how people will perceive your business as, and warm or cool, and whether they're in it's a blue or an orange or a yellow and green, whatever, right? And so that color psychology is super important. And then the other thing that's really important is the shape itself. Shapes really cause a response from the people seeing that logo. As an example, if you had a logo that had a lot of hard, sharp lines, psychologically, like indirectly, people will feel the sense of danger and caution when they see that kind of a logo. And so, as you can see, there's lots of reasons for actually making that business investment, which is why I had that phone call conversation with that fellow. Is he wanted to find out what that investment would be so he could relate that back to his friend. That when you're building your business, this is the most important investment that you can make in that business, is creating it on a really solid foundation by having your logo and the rest of your branding, because brand consistency is super important too. Have it done by a professional who takes into consideration all of these different factors. And so one thing that you don't want to be doing is going to a graphic designer and saying, okay, I drew up on a piece of paper what I want, and I just need somebody to recreate this into a logo. Well, what you're doing is you're literally robbing them of their ability to bring to you all of their expertise about brand representation, the font choices, the colors, and the shapes. And so the best thing for you to do is to explain to that professional graphic designer, okay, this is what I want my business to be perceived as. This is the overall essence, the feel of it. And then rely on that professional to come up with logo concepts that will represent you accurately, so that your target market will respond appropriately, and you will be much better inclined and much better positioned to actually get clients out of the deal. And so avoid making a long and costly mistake. Get a professional logo done. We at eVision Media design logos and brands, the whole brand, because a logo is not just your brand, but that's another topic. And have it done properly the first time, and find a way to invest in that. And it's well worth it. That's it for today's eTip. And be sure to leave a message at the bottom if you have any questions or comments, and I'd be happy to answer. So we'll talk to you next time.